Galloway's Tech Talk at 3 with Jason from Vision Aid.
Welcome everybody to Galloway's Tech Talk at 3. We've been going over a year now with the Tech Talks, 12 months now since the pandemic started. So thanks for everyone's support, and also for all the guys and companies and organizations and guest speakers that have come and joined us every week, including the guys today from Vision Aid. And this is your fourth Tech Talk with us, actuly, in 12 months. So you must be doing something right there, Jason and Nigel.
Well, you'll be charging us soon, won't you?
I think we had you back in. I think it was in February last time you came on. February the 8th, I think it was, or the 18th, something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
And we were looking at the Read Easy Move Evolve, which have thankfully come back today to give us a bit more of an in-depth look into this great smart reader. So it's great to have you with us today, and without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you guys.
Yeah, thanks very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to see you all again. So like Andrew said, we must be doing something right to get an invite back. So thanks for inviting us back. We always enjoy it, don't we, Nigel?
Indeed. Yeah. No, it's a lovely group to come to, I have to say.
So for those of you who don't know me, I know some of you do because I've said hello already. I'm Jason from Vision Aid. So Vision Aid's a family business based over in Spalding in Lincolnshire. So for those of you who don't know, and we cover the whole country. We're not tied to any manufacturers. We sell loads of different technologies, from reading machines, magnifiers, stuff that we've gone through before on many occasions, lighting, simple solutions like lighting, software for computers, do all the Synaptic stuff. We do loads of different products. So a lot of people come to us if they want to try things side by side so they can compare things, which is nice. But today, Andrew's asked me to show you specifically and go into a bit more detail a reading machine that we do called the Read Easy Evolve, which replaced. The Read Easy's been around for quite a while, from years back, and it started off as a flatbed scanner type reader, and it's developed on, and now it's sort of it's like most of them. It sort of looks a bit like a radio, which you'll have a look at in a minute. I'll switch cameras to it. And it's a standalone system, so you don't need anything else. You just plug it in, and it's an audio reader, but you can also add extra things to it, so you can connect it to a screen and things and watch and magnify the information being read. But we'll go through it in more detail in a second. So that's primarily what we're going to be looking at today. But I'm sure we'll have sort of time for questions and stuff at the end of all this, so you can ask questions and hurl some abuse if you want, whatever you like to do, tell some jokes, we don't mind. As long as we're all enjoying ourselves, we don't mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little presentation of it first of all, and then I'm going to switch microphones, because the microphone on my headset is quite directional, so it only picks up really what I'm saying. So I'll switch to the microphone on my camera, because that'll pick up the Evolve speaker better when it's reading. So let me just technical stuff here. Oops, no, I didn't mean to turn off my video. There you go. So for those of you who can see it now, that I've got the Evolve set up on here. It's a bit like a large radio, so it's a nice machine there. But and I'm just going to pick up and place things. So I've also got a screen, but I'm not going to connect the screen till afterwards, because not everyone that buys an Evolve necessarily wants a screen with it. In fact, most of the ones we sell, they just buy this main machine, and it's a bit like it's like I said, it's a bit like, a best way to describe it is like a radio, because it's got like a speaker grill on the front of it, with a speaker in it. So, and it's got nice, clear, bright tactile controls on top. Very, very simple to use as well. It's a really nice, simple thing to use. I've got customers over 100 years of age using the Evolve. So, and also I've got students and people using it as well. So it's for all age groups really and abilities. But it's a nice, fast and accurate reader. And it's size-wise, its footprint is, I should tell you in inches really, but in millimeters, I know it's 220 by 110. So 22 centimeters by 11 centimeters. So it's not a huge thing. It's quite light. It's got a handle built into the top of it, which is really nice. So it's easy to carry it. If I spin it round at the back, at the moment, I've got there's an optional keypad that you can buy for the Evolve, which not everyone needs, which I'll show you what that does in a minute, and that magnetizes into the back of the unit for storage. So that's mine in there now, in there stored in there. Okay, and I'll leave that in there for now. So if you buy the one, if you have it without the feature pack, the extra feature pack, which is this extra keypad, then this will just be a hole here where it can go. And you can also add the keypad to the device later on. So if you find you've been using the Evolve for a while, and then suddenly you want to use more features on it, you can just buy the extra keypad and it will connect to the device. So I've just shown you where it stores. And then along the base of the machine, the camera stores. So it's all nice and neat. This is the camera. So I'm going to take that out because we'll need that in a little while. And then along the back as well, we've got the power connection, 2 USB 3 connections. So therefore upgrading the machine. So if it ever gets updated, we can send you a USB stick with the update on it. You just plug it into the device and it will talk you through the update. And then we have 2 display ports on it. One is called a display port and one's HDMI. So that's the more commonly used one, the HDMI. It's a lot of computer monitors that use the display port one. It's a different style of connector. So it's used in a lot of offices and computers and stuff. So HDMI is the more common one. So because that's also used on televisions. So it means that you can also connect it to a television and watch the information as it's read out loud as well. Okay. So I'm just going to spin that around and I'm going to take the keypad out because we'll use that later and place that down here. So I'll set the Evolve up sort of there. And the camera, it just unfolds and then slots into, there are 2 slots for the camera on the Evolve. Most of the other, all the other readers on the market that are self-contained like this, you get one camera that either flips up or it connects. This one has got 2 slots that you can connect it in, an A4 slot and an A3 slot, because it's the only standalone reader in the world that can do A3. So it can do 2 pages of a magazine because that's twice the size of A4. Okay, or you can do a large sheet of newspaper. And the reason you have the 2 slots, not just the 1 slot, is because in the A4 slot, because the camera is a high resolution camera and it's closer to the page, it can read much finer detail. So that's good for reading things like medication and things like that. And obviously when you put it in the A3 slot, the camera will sit higher up so it can see more information. And we also provide it with this thing here called a contrast mat. And this is just it's like a very thin plastic mat that just hooks around the machine like that. And that helps people, it doesn't actually need the mat to work, but it just helps people to understand what the camera, because the camera sticks out the front of the machine and looks down in front of the machine. So anything that you place in front of the Evolve, it will then read. It can see and read. But this mat helps you to understand exactly when the camera's in the A4 position, exactly what it can see. So it gives you a tactile area, so you can feel it if your vision's if you're blind or you've got very poor vision, or if you have got some useful vision, you'll be able to see it's the white mat. So it's a visual and a tactile sort of guide, so that you know exactly where to place your document. And on the controls itself, it's got nice simple controls along the front panel, which we'll go along in a minute. So all the controls for using it are on the front here. There's one further back, and that's the power button, which is deliberately out of the way of the other button, so you don't accidentally switch it off. So it's further back. And then on the side of the unit, there's a slider for the volume. So obviously, when you slide it up towards the ceiling, then it's louder. Slide it down towards the base, and then it's quieter. And then it's got a headphone socket, and it does come with a pair of headphones as well, so you can privately listen. So that if one of you is trying to watch Coronation Street and the other one's trying to read, there's no arguments. You're not sort of trying to blast out a voice over the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch microphones now because to my camera one, because it'll pick up the Evolve better. So if you can give me a thumbs up, can you still hear that one okay? Can you still hear me on that?
Yeah, can still hear you pretty good there. Yeah.
Good. Right, so I'm going to switch the Evolve on. It lights up. Let me just switch back to my other. Is that okay? Can you still hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
you can still hear you pretty good. Yeah.
Ooh, I panicked then because I switched back. So I've switched the on. The lights come on underneath, so it's illuminating the area that it can see. It'll talk to me in a minute. It did do a beep when I first switched it on. That's to let you know if you're totally blind, because it's got no moving parts in it, because it's got a solid state hard drive in it, which means there's no moving parts. It's not one of these drives that you can hear whirring inside it. So it's very quiet. So just to let you know that it's switched on, if you've got no vision at all, obviously if you've got some vision, you'll see that the lights just come on. But if you haven't got any vision, it does that audio beep just to let you know that the machine is powering up. So now it says read easy is ready, and then it's now ready to read. And it's just a simple case. Let me just grab something. I'm just trying to grab simple things like I've got. Oh, there's a letter that I've got. Oh, it's because of the polls are coming up, aren't they? So I've got this letter that's just come through the door this morning. So we'll see what that's all about. So what happens with a letter? If I put it straight up with the top face touching the machine, it'll read all the way down it'll so far down, but it can't see the rest because it's got off the mat. So a letter I would normally turn sideways so it fits more comfortably on this mat. I'm trying to tip it down there. That's better. So it's not whiting out. There you go. So I put it on here, sideways, up against the machine. And all as I do to read that now, it just press one button. Capturing. And it says capturing. You'll hear the photograph noise, and then it'll read it.
Taylor, Bennett Bakewell MBE, your candidate in Sutton Central and East Ward. Dear neighbour, you are probably wondering why we are having the county council elections on the 6th of May 2021 during a pandemic, and if they are important, what could be more important? Our county council is responsible.
Can you hear that okay?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I was going to say that the quality of the voice is really, really, really nice.
Yeah, he's one of the newer voices. He's called Malcolm.
Malcolm. He sounds like the guy off BBC News.
Yeah, he's a really nice voice. So he's one of the newer voices. You do get a selection of voices on it as well, and it can also do multiple languages. The Evolve can. So in all, it can do over 30 different languages. But obviously, you wouldn't have all those on. But European languages, some people have like English and German on it, or English and French, or English, French and German if you wanted. And if you put a document underneath with one of those languages on, it will automatically switch as soon as it sees it's a different language. And you can get it to check at the beginning of the page, so it'll automatically switch into that accent and read it with the proper accent and the proper phrasing. Okay, or you can get it if you know, for example, that there's some German in the middle of an English document, you can get it to look at every paragraph, so it looks at as it goes through the document. So then it will automatically switch when it gets in the middle somewhere, and then it will switch. So often, if we do, sometimes if we show that as a feature of the language switching, we'll have a paragraph of English at the front top, some Dutch, and then some German or Spanish or whatever you want. Okay, so it does do lots of different languages. It even reads, I call it proper Welsh. It reads proper Welsh as well. So it is, but the Welsh is not one of the languages where it will automatically switch. You have to switch it to tell it it's reading Welsh, because there are certain languages that can't switch automatically, but it reads Welsh very nicely apparently. Because you've got 3 profiles that you can set up. So at the moment, so that you can set 3 profiles up. If you use certain documents all the time and you find it reads better with certain settings, you can set 3 profiles up, so you can quickly switch to those profiles without having to keep setting them up all the time. I mean, most home users wouldn't bother with that. They just switch it on, beautifully simple, put a document in front of it, press it, and it reads. Simple as that, which is what it's beautiful for. It's such a simple machine to use. It's quick, it's accurate. It can also do a couple of clever things. The document doesn't have to be too straight, and it doesn't matter if it's curved like a book, because it can do what's called 3D deskewing, which means that it doesn't matter if the page is not flat, because there are some readers that hate it when a document's not really flat. I mean, it's always good practice to flatten things out as much as you can anyway, but this doesn't bother it. I'll show you a book later where it'll capture a book and it reads right into the spine of the book, which is great, which is what you really want for a read.
That can definitely be an issue, like you're saying, when you're reading a traditional novel or a book, because to keep the book open as well, it can be quite tricky.
Yeah, and what the Evolver's also got, it's got motion detection, because like if I'm trying to, I've just grabbed a paperback book here. The thing with the paperback book, because this is a paperback, I can open it on the mat here in front of it, and because the 2 pages is, even with 2 pages, it's still small. It's still smaller than A4. It'll do 2 pages at once, and it reads down 1 page and down the next page. And the orientation of the book doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if I've got the book upside down, sideways. It knows to read the left page before the right page. Okay. And it's also got what's called motion detection, because on a paperback book, it's really quite tricky, because as soon as you let go and go to take the picture to capture the document, the book will spring closed. This one's trying to close all the time every time I let go of it. So on the Evolve, if I press the capture button now to capture, if I want to read this book now,
Capturing.
it says capturing. And if I keep moving underneath the camera with my hand, I'm circling my hand underneath the camera, the Evolve keeps beeping because it's telling me there's something wrong, because it can see the movement. And it will not take a picture until that movement stops. So I've got plenty of time to flatten my book, bring my fingers down and hold the book in the corner of each page, and it'll go quiet when it's happy. Now it's gone quiet, it's happy. Now it takes a picture.
Wow, not seen that before, Jason, with the OCR readers. That's good.
And it's reading almost instantly. So then it'll read down 1 page, down the next page, and it'll say end of document, and then you have to turn over the page. It's funny that some people say to me, so you know, well, I have to turn over the pages. I say, well, yeah, you have to do some work. So, but it's beautifully simple just by pressing 1 button. And if you imagine, if you get a letter through, if you try and wade through that with a magnifier, doesn't matter how good the white magnifier is, it's still quite a challenge to work your way through even a letter. Where this, you just press a button and it'll just read it to you nicely, and off you go. And you can just relax. And then you've got, next to the button that I've been pressing to capture the document, to photograph it, there are 3 buttons for navigation. So in the center, there's a round one with a nice solid, like a locator dot on it. So that's play and pause. So that stops and starts the Evolve reading.
Step.
So that starts it,
That she no longer loved him.
and then stop. And then either side of that, there are 2 gray curved tactile buttons. So one to the right of the circle, one to the left. The one on the right, every time I tap that button and click it, it will skip forward a sentence. So it's like fast forward. So if you've read in a letter, you often get like say if you get a letter from a hospital or wherever it might be, you'll get the letterhead at the top. So it'll say, like for me, for example, my local hospital, Kingsmill Hospital. So it'll say Kingsmill Hospital. Think, oh, I know where that's from. I don't need to know their address. So you skip them forwards until you get to Dear Jason or Dear Sir, and then it will continue reading. So if you tap forwards, it will go forwards. Okay, the right hand button. If I've tapped the left hand button, the one on the left hand side of the round circular play pause, that will rewind a sentence at a time every time I press it. Okay. I can also, if I hold the button down though, either the forwards or the back one, it will go a word at a time forwards or a word at a time backwards. So that's good if I'm looking for something. And then if I let go on any word or a phone number, anything like that, it will then spell it or read it out. So if I hold the forward button down.
Fact, she often thought that possibly P-O-S-S-I-B-L-Y.
There you go, spells it. So I can go forward gradually and go backwards gradually, or I can go in bigger chunks and go forwards and backwards. And by holding the play and pause and using the forwards and backwards, I can also do paragraph forward and back as well. So you've got quite a lot of navigation just in these 3 very simple controls. And then next to those, there are bright yellow buttons. One's raised up and one's recessed. So when I feel them, so the raised up one, the top one, when I press that one,
Faster.
that makes him read faster. And the bottom one makes him read slower.
Faster, slower.
So the more you tap the slow one, the slower he gets, until eventually start to sound a bit drunk because he'll start slurring all his words. And then obviously when the top one, once you get used to the voice, the faster you have the voice, the more natural it sounds. Because it's still sort of, when you're reading, it'll still take into consideration and respect punctuation. So if there's an exclamation mark on the end of a sentence, he'll get excited. He'll help like that. So the voice will go up. And also when you get a comma, it will pause slightly. If you get a full stop, it will pause for longer. So it does respect punctuation. and reads really nicely. So
Possibly she loved him even more than she had ever done. It was just that inside her hair she had grown. Oh,
okay. Oh, well, I go. My dog's commenting on that now. So sorry about Baxter. He's having a go. So that's it. That's it in its simple form. But also, there's one other control on it where you can capture. At the moment, I've been just tapping the button to capture. So I've been just pressing this button, and it will say capturing. Listen,
capturing.
I've got nothing there at the moment. So it'll take the picture,
No text.
and it says no text, end of document, because there's nothing there. But 90% of the time, you will just tap that button. And what that will do, if you're reading a book, it will read the left page before the right page. Or if you've got a magazine or a newspaper, it will read down the columns properly, which is what you want. But there are certain documents, like bank statements, and also it may be a contents page in a book, where the information is presented on the page in columns, but you don't want the Evolve to read in columns. Because otherwise, if it was a bank statement, it's going to read all the dates first, and then all your transaction details, and then all the financial stuff at the end. Or if it was contents page, it's going to read all the chapters first, and then all your page numbers, because it will treat it as two columns. So if you ever want the Evolve to read across text, then you press and hold the button down instead of tapping it, and it will respond with
capturing as table.
Capturing as a table. Then you let go, and it does the same process, but now, even if it sees columns on the page, it will just read straight across. Okay. And just finally, with the camera itself, I've plugged it into the A4 slot for reading. If I wanted to read a larger document, like a newspaper or 2 pages of a magazine, just press the button once to capture both those pages. I just simply grab hold of the camera while the unit's switched on and pull it upwards, and it will disconnect, and then the machine will tell me, the Evolve will tell me,
camera disconnected.
Camera disconnected. And then I put it into the front slot, and it will say camera connected for A3 capture. Listen.
Camera connected for A3 capture.
So now the camera's sitting higher up, ready for A3. Okay. And now a nice thing about that as well, now we've got this mat beneath us which shows us where A4 is, but now we've got no idea where to place an A3 document. So what we do with that, on the side of the Evolve, there's a little pull-out tactile guide that it just flips out. So then if I want to do an A3 document, I can line it up with this tactile guide off on the side, so I know exactly where to place my document, so the camera can see the whole A3 area. It's good, isn't it? There you go. So that's the Evolve in its very simple form, which is what most people buy.
Camera disconnected.
You've got to put it back in its A4.
Camera connected for A4 capture.
There you go. So, and it's beautifully simple. It doesn't store anything on its standard as a standard unit. So if I'm reading a book, if I read 2 pages and then I turn over and read 2 other next pages, it doesn't store it. It forgets the previous 2. Or if I'm reading a bank statement and then I go on to read something else, it will forget the previous document. So you can read confidential things with it, and it doesn't store it. And it also doesn't remember it if you turn it off as well. So that's good, so that you don't have to worry about filling it up with information that you've got to keep deleting and managing. Okay. However, it is a powerful reading machine, but not many people for home use need all the facilities on it. But if you do, then you buy the extra keypad, the keypad feature pack. So on its own, the Evolve costs £1,695, and the feature pack is an extra £295. And if you want the feature pack, you can add it to any Evolve, and it connects via Bluetooth, so there are no wires. As soon as I press a button on this, on the keypad, listen.
Wireless control pad connected.
Wireless control pad connected. So now this keypad here with extra keys on it, buttons on it, is now linked to the Evolve. And now by having this keypad, it unlocks all the features of the Evolve. You can do everything with it. You can do multiple page documents. You can store them on its hard drive. So I think it's got 120 gigabyte solid state drive in it. So you get no one's ever filled it up. It's probably I've probably got 40,000 pages you could store on the actual machine. You can store information, you can export or store information on USB sticks in the back of it if you want. So that's extra storage you can plug in. or you might want to export the documents because you want to put them on a computer and use them on a computer for brailing or for other uses. You might want to transfer it. You can export in different formats. You can export in Microsoft Word format, in just raw text if you wanted to braille it, or you can export it in as a PDF, or even as an MP3. So as a music file that you can listen to on a music player. So some of you have got these little what they call boom boxes with a little USB stick in the top. You could actually get any book from the library or any document and create an audio book out of that document just by using the Evolve. So it is a really powerful reading machine, but you don't necessarily need all those extra features. So if you're buying it for, like I say, if you're buying it for home, it's a beautiful machine and simple to use on its own. If you'd like the extra features, then you need the feature pack. So I'm going to take you through the feature pack now. So first of all, the feature pack adds lots of extra buttons. So it can be a little bit daunting at first because it's got quite a lot of extra buttons on it. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. It's nice and tactile again. It mimics the buttons on the main unit so that they're familiar. So I can still stop and start reading. I can go forwards and back as a sentence and a word. And also on this one, because the feature pack then allows me to do multiple pages at once, so I can do a whole book and then read it at my leisure. It also allows me then to go forward and backwards a page at a time. And there's a little wheel on here as well that I can just turn forwards or backwards. And it's like a fast forward, really quick fast forward or backwards. It's fast forward. And if I'm on a word, I can just click this button down, press it, and it spells the word it's on. There we go. So I'm on a, let me just capture the book again, because I was looking at that other document one night. Let me just do a book. So I've got some text on there. Capturing. That's it.
To begin inordinately long times.
So I can stop that. Now here, I've got the capture button is exactly the same as the one on the main unit. So I can capture, but above it, I've got an append button. So I can add pages to it. So the first one will do a single capture like the one on the main machine. So if I capture something and I want to capture something else, it'll forget the previous one. But if I want to add pages to it, I can either do it manually by keep adding them, or I can press and hold this down and do it as a multiple capture. So I don't have to keep pressing buttons on the machine. So if I press and hold it, just listen.
Multi-page capture started.
Multi-page capture.
Page 2.
Adding page 2. So I hold the book, it takes the picture and listen. And then it tells me to turn the page. So and if I sit here really still and don't do anything, it won't do anything. It'll just sit there and wait for me to turn the page. And as soon as the Evolve sees me turn the page on the book, to let me know that it's seen me, it will play a page turning noise back through the speakers. So then I know it's seen me turn the page. So listen, and it says adding page 3. There you go. So then I hold the next page is open.
Turn page. Adding page 4.
Adding page 4. And also I can work my way through the whole book. And then later on I can read it at my leisure then.
Turn page. Adding page 5.
It's really good. There you go. And I could also have it, there's a mode where I can actually have it now. If I let it keep going, let's take another one. If I decide I want to start reading now, I can read, but still carry on, putting the extra other pages in. And I don't know if you can hear that, it's quite subtle, but hold on. I'll do a few more pages. Right, so I've cancelled it now. But what happened there was I can be reading the first pages that I've captured whilst I'm still putting pages in at the back end, and so that it doesn't put me off the flow of the reading because I'm listening while I'm putting the extra pages in. The Evolve shuts up and it stops telling me to turn the page. What it does, it just does a nice little, it goes boop like that, just to tell me that it's captured that page. And I turn over and hold it again while I'm listening to it reading. And then when I hear it go boop, I know I can turn the page again. So it stops talking, so it doesn't put me off the flow of the reading. So that's really nice because I can put the whole book in whilst I'm still listening at the beginning, and it will carry on reading through the whole book. So I can still get to the end, get the whole book done, and I might be on sort of page 50 because I've been listening to it as I've been putting the book in. So That's a nice feature too. So that's multiple page capture. And also on this on this as well, I've got a cancel button, which is a red button on the end, which I use for cancelling. When I finished doing the multi-page, I just clicked that and it stopped it doing the multiple pages. So now it's stopped now and it's just waiting. And also with these, I'm just going to plug. I've got a screen next to me, a computer screen. So now on the screen, I'm hoping that those of you that can see, there we go. That's the book on the screen for those of you can see it. And then on the keypad here, at the moment there's what's called an overlay. We call it a simplifier. So if you only wanted to use the multiple page functions of the keypad, and you might have no sight at all, or you've got no interest in connecting the Evolve to a screen, you don't necessarily need to see or feel the other controls that control the magnification side of the device. So they're covered over with the simplifier. But if you do need access to them, you just simply lift the simplifier off. It's it's magnetized, and then you've got extra controls. So I can control the zoom level, so I can magnify the text even more. You get a huge amount of magnification, especially if you're using it on a television. I've just got it on a normal computer here, computer monitor, and then
Black on white.
you can make it black on white, white on black, like you can on a normal sort of CCTV magnifier.
Black on white.
You can also I can also bring on a little mouse pointer onto the screen, and there's a little joystick. If any of you have ever seen like a games console, like a PlayStation or an Xbox, there's like a little joystick, the same as on those controllers that you get with those. And I can move a mouse pointer around on the screen, so I can select exactly where I want the Evolve to start reading from. Because even though I've captured a whole page, I don't necessarily want to read it from the beginning. It might be a newspaper, and I might see an article that I'm interested in. So then I just click it, and it will start.
I'm no art critic, and I haven't.
And it will start reading from exactly where I click it. Okay. Now, if I magnify too much, the actual image degrades, because all as I'm doing at the moment, I'm magnifying the picture that it's taken. So to make it nice and crisp, I can also overlay the text with a font. So then it doesn't matter what size I take it to, it stays beautifully crisp all the way up. There we go. And also the Evolve is also fully touchscreen compatible. So if you've got a computer screen that is also a touchscreen, you can connect it straight to the Evolve, and then with my finger, I can push the image around on the screen. I can pinch and zoom to magnify in and out. And I can also just tap when I want it to start reading on a word.
I have always loved painting.
And it's really, really smooth and slick. So if I wanted to come over to the second page, I just push it across and then just tap.
And I'm not just being kind. If I were being kind, I would say quite different things.
And then stop. So it's a clever little thing. And then you've got on here as well, there's for this keypad, because it might be a bit tricky at first, it's also got a help button in the top left. So what that does, if I press that,
press a button to hear its function.
Press the button to hear its function.
Again to exit help and perform its function.
So I can press the button and it will tell me what function that button does. And if that's the button I was looking for, I can press it again. It will then perform that function. If I press the same button again, and then it will exit the help. So, but if I just want to know what this button was, play and pause, listen.
Play, pause button. Press to play or pause the reading of your document.
There you go.
Press together with faster or slower buttons to change recognition profile.
There you go. So it tells you everything, what every button does when you press them.
Cancel button. Cancels capturing, cancels a question dialog or exits menu.
And I'll come out of help
button.
And press it again.
Press to open this document mode.
I love the controller. It's like it reminds me of something off the Starship Enterprise off Star Trek.
Yeah.
Or because it's really colourful. And don't take this the wrong way. It looks like a kid's toy. In a good way, like with the bright colours and things. In fact,
the contrast are good. They're really tactile. These buttons.
A child's going to pick that up and start pressing it.
And then
definitely.
All of this takes is in the back here. It's got a little compartment. It takes 2 AAA batteries, which will last for years because it uses the latest low power Bluetooth.
Okay.
So that's nice. And then if you look at the screen, I've got if I press and hold, if I wanted to save a document, if I just tap this button, so I can save the document. And it's a bit like, if any of you've used Microsoft Word, when you save a document, it'll automatically take like one of the first words from the document. And use that as the file name. But if you don't want that, you can also save it with a voice tag, and the Evolve's got a microphone built into it. When I'm looking through the documents, it would play my voice back, so I know that's the right document.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Then you've got your normal import and export. You can export, copy to a document to a USB stick. So you can use, you can back up stuff on. Obviously, you can back up stuff.
Delete, exit.
Go back, and then there's a more advanced menu. I can press and hold the button down.
Document management.
So I can go into page management. So if I've done multiple pages and I might have got them in the wrong order, so I can go to page management.
Page management. Page information.
And that allows you to pick pages up and move them around, because I might have got them in the wrong order, or I might have missed a page and want to add it in. So I don't really want to do the whole book again, or rotate pages, because one of the pages might be the wrong orientation, because a reading machine only knows the correct orientation of the page if it's got text on it. But if you've got one page in the middle of your document that's just got a photograph on it, it might put that the wrong way around. So then you can rotate it so it matches all the other pages if it's important to you. Most people it's not important to, but it's there if you need it. And then split book pages, that's quite an interesting one, because that's if it's really important to someone that needs to keep the page number in the same as the book. Because like if I do a paperback book, because under the Evolve, even on A4 mode, you can put the document under this book and it would read both those pages in one go. It'll read down the first one, down the second one. So it treats that as one page with 2 columns.
Right.
But as far as the book goes, it's actually 2 pages.
Yeah.
So what I could do is I put it on split book pages. So when the Evolve sees that, it will treat this, the left-hand page is page 1 and save that as page 1, and the right-hand page is page 2. It splits it. And you can do that before or afterwards. So if you'd already done the book and you're taking it back to the library, you can do it afterwards. It'll process the pages again. Same as recognize pages again. You can re-recognize pages. So if you'd saved the book on your machine, you've gone through a whole book and it was a German book, and you'd gone and photographed it all in English, and then you're taking your book back to your library, you think, oh, it was a German book. so then what you could do, you could switch the Evolve. I mean, the Evolve, if you've got German on an Evolve anyway, it would be automatic and recognise. But say if it was Welsh, you could then switch to Welsh and then re-recognise all the pages in Welsh, and it would read it in Welsh then.
Awful lot of detail gone into this product.
Yeah, they're adding to it all the time, because you get suggestions from people, and they'll always consider stuff. If enough people ask for it or make sensible suggestions, that we'll always add things to it, or or change things if we can, and make it more user friendly for people. But it's a lovely machine. But like I say, the majority of the ones that I personally sell are just the machine on its own, because it's beautifully simple. It's a lovely machine on its own. You don't need all the fancy bells and whistles. But if you've got someone like a student who uses it, or someone in work, or somebody that really loves the gadgets and into technology and want to do more with it, at any stage, you can just add the keypad.
I sometimes feel though that it can get overlooked if people just see the machine without it being viewed on a screen. People might go towards more of a CCTV, where it's like a live camera view, which some people think they might prefer because they can move the text around. But actually doing it this way, which might be quite alien to some people, like taking a picture and then zooming in using the keypad to go around it. But actually, once you get used to doing that, it's much easier than I think than using a CCTV to move around.
Yeah, because you can. And if you do need to handwrite, you need to sign something under it. You can't, even though it's just because the best cameras for doing capture and read back are stills cameras, not video cameras.
Yeah.
So if you did want to do a live image, say if you wanted to quickly sign a document on the Evolve, if you've got the keypad, you just press this button here, and that will go into live mode. Okay, so now that's a live image, and I can I can also rotate that, and I can put it in writing mode, and then I could put my hand under it and I could rotate the image. It's a bit slow, but it's fine to magnify and use for writing something very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's there if you need it. And then also on the Evolve, which I've not shown you, by pressing the faster and slower buttons here, you can change all the reading voices. So at the moment we've got Malcolm. If I press these two together, that's Moira. She's Irish.
Nathan.
There's Nathan.
Nicole.
I've got more on mine than you normally get on an Evolve because obviously mine's a demonstration. You normally get about sort of somewhere between, I think it's about 10 different voices. Oliver. Rishi. He sounds wonderful. Rishi does. He's an Indian guy and he sounds really good when he's reading an Indian
Cool.
takeaway menu.
Cool.
He pronounced everything correctly because he'll say poppadoms and it sounds really nice when he reads it like that. It's funny. But when he reads the money, it's quite funny because he'll say 1.50 British pounds.
Oh, I'm there. I'm there. I'm in that Indian restaurant already. Yeah, I'm there. I'm there.
There's Russell. He's an Australian. If you fancy an Australian reading back to you.
Sally.
Samantha.
Samantha.
Sangeeta.
Serena.
Serena's quite nice. So if I press.
Services they rightly deserve. The safety of birders is paramount.
So that's Serena.
Susan.
Susan sounds like she's been smoking about 50 a day. She's quite husky. But there's more to do with people who've got hearing impairments as well, or may have a hearing impairment, because some people can hear a higher pitched voice or a lower pitched voice, or
Tessa.
that's why you get a selection, obviously. On a more serious note, I mean, it's quite good playing with it. If you've got any grandchildren, or
Malcolm, yeah, I like Malcolm's voice. I think.
I do.
The first one that you had.
It basically just goes round in a loop, so that when you and it remembers what voice you like and what you have a voice you leave it on, and you just when you switch it back on, it stays like that. There's Amy. I'll get back to there's Brian. Daniel shouts everything. Daniel thinks everything should be shouted. If Guarantees Welsh. Get back to come on, Malcolm.
Kieran, Kate, Kimberly,
Malcolm. And then the only other thing to show as well, if I disconnect the camera a second, underneath the camera there's a little rocker switch that you can flick from left to right. That turns the LEDs off because at the moment there's a light shining. So if you're reading something very shiny, it might be a really shiny magazine, or it might be you might be trying to read stuff off a mobile phone screen, which is glass.
Yeah.
So then what'll happen is you'll get a lot of reflections from the lights going down onto the document or onto the glass and bouncing back up and dazzling the camera. So what you can do is quickly switch the lights off, and as long as you've got enough ambient light in the room, the Evolve will read it fine.
Cool.
So that's a good little feature as well. It's just a beautifully simple, nice reading machine, and it's just a great little thing. And they're working on something now. I put a bank statement here, which I'll just quickly show you. So if I capture that, because the problem is with any reading machine, if you try and read a bank statement, it's a nightmare, because once you go into the table, so let me just magnify this up. There's the actual thing here. We obviously can't use a proper bank statement because we're broadcasting it, so we've just generated a tape.
Which one have you got there?
This is Mr. Jeff Jones, and he lives at 123 right up my street.
Excellent.
He's a genuine bloke, honestly. So if I skip forward, listen.
100 Peterborough E10.
There's a postcode.
State, the 7th of December. Entering table.
Entering table.
Row 2 of 12.
Row 2 of 12.
The 10th of November.
The 10th of November. And as I skip forwards, description, it reads the title of every column and then reads what's in it wherever I'm in the table. It tells me where I am.
Right.
And there's nothing else that does that as a reader. And it's being developed at the moment, so it's not a proper release. I've got a beta test version on this on my demo Evolve. But it's going to get better over time, and you'll be able to upgrade. If you've already got an Evolve, you'll be able to just plug a USB stick in and upgrade it. But it makes things right. Reading any tabular information, anything in a table, it makes it so much easier because it's reading the title every time as I go across. Listen. Balance.
Oh yeah, right.
Normally it would. Normally it would say £370, and I can also go down. I can also come down to the next one. I don't have to go across. I can go straight down. And that's in the balance column.
£20.20.
Go down again.
Row 4 of 12.
Row 4 of 12, balance.
£226.20.
So, because bank statements is, I mean, you probably know it anyway, Andrew. It's hard going trying to read a bank statement speech as it is, but this does help it.
So this is more of a you navigate it basically with the controls. You're navigating through it,
So I capture the page as normal. I just press the button on the top and it captures the page. And as soon, while it's reading through something, as soon as it detects a table on the page, it'll say entering table. Then you know that you can then navigate that table.
That's cool. That's cool.
And then when it's gone through it, it'll say exiting table. Then it'll carry on reading the document as normal.
And that's without the feature pack as well as, or is that with
Yeah,
it only
no, it works with it. It works without the feature pack as well.
Right, cool. That's cool. Yeah,
Because it's quite an important thing, really. It's one of the big issues that we're trying to solve because no other reading machines do it. So there you go.
Really,
so that's the Evolve.
That's a game changer. So I mean, a couple of observations from me. I'm assuming that this product is you have to keep it plugged in to the power at all times. I'm assuming it doesn't work off a battery or anything like that, does it?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things about that. There's one, they are developing a battery for the Evolve, so there will be a battery version available eventually. Okay,
right, cool.
If you've already bought the Evolve, you can send it back and have yours updated to put the battery in. Okay, because it'll be because it's not as simple as just sending a battery out because there's an extra bit of circuitry that goes in it. The only thing I tell people about with a battery to consider is I get so many people that buy a battery unit because it's got a battery in it that don't actually use it on its battery. And they don't realize that also then makes the machine heavier because it's got a battery in it. And also, if you're going to use, so some people will say, well, I use my reading machine at home and I also go to my caravan with it. And I say, what do you do when you get to the caravan? Oh, we've got mains electricity, I plug it in. But the trouble is then, well, they do, and they're charging it all the time. So the battery is constantly charged.
Yeah.
So over a period of like a year or so, you just ruin the battery because you're constantly charging it.
Yeah.
Because if you use batteries, you've got to use it on its batteries properly. Not many people actually do. So if you have a battery, when they do the battery unit, it'll be a more expensive unit. It'll be heavier. And I just ask people to consider where you're going to use it and whether you're actually going to use the batteries in it. Because if you're not, you don't really want them because otherwise you're causing more problems later on. Because batteries will fail over a period of time. You can't avoid it. Doesn't matter because they're constantly being charged and discharged. But
if you're going to use it in the house, you probably, unless you're going to take it in the garden or something or the shed, which I don't think you would, I think you're just going to use it around the house, aren't you? Which you should have a plug.
I'd more question what you're going to be reading if you need to go in the shed and hide.
Absolutely, but no, I really like it. Now I've got an old version of Read Easy Move from ages ago, like 2013, 14.
Oh right, okay.
Easy Move. So what I probably can't do anything. My current model's probably as far as it can go. And I probably do for people that have got like older versions. Do you do like a part exchange or anything like that, or is it you just have to upgrade?
No, we're always open to part exchanges for people. We always try and help people, and obviously because there are people that will buy those units secondhand because even the Read Easy Move and the Read Easy Move 2 were good reading machines.
Yeah.
So and they were still fast and accurate. They haven't got all the bells and whistles that the Evolve's got, but they were still good reading machines. So they've still got a second-hand value. And whether you want to sell them back to Vision Aid and trade them in, that's great if you want to do that. There's always a market for that. Or if you want to sell them privately, you'll obviously get more money if you sell it privately, and people don't expect a warranty if you're selling it privately. You'll always get more money. It's the same as anything. But we'll happily take them in part exchange. So yes. We do that on most products actually. We do buy stuff. Even sometimes if people aren't buying a new unit off us, if they've got something that they want to sell, we'll always make an offer for it. If as long as we can still get the parts for a product, we can still sell it secondhand to people. But because obviously when they buy off a company like ours, they expect a warranty with it.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't buy anything back off somebody unless we can still get the parts for it. Because if we sell it on to someone else, let me just switch back to this other camera so I can see you. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah. So we'd only buy stuff back that we can still get the parts for. So
right, that's fair enough. Yeah. And imagine like the device isn't designed to be online, is it? Just to get that across to people. It's designed to be an offline device. So in terms of a software update, as you said before, you'd expect that to come through the USB. You get sent like a USB stick with the software update.
Yeah, and it's nice and simple. We send you a little USB stick. There are 2 ports on the back. There are only 2 that it fits in. one on either side. So you just put one on either side of the unit at the back. You just plug it into one of them. The Evolve will respond straight away. It will say, I found an update. This software is newer than the one that's on the Evolve.
Yeah.
Okay, would you like to update it? If so, press the play and pause button. You press the play and pause button and it will update itself. And it talks you through it as it does it.
And
Just-
is the Evolve a Vision Aid exclusive product that you guys have developed yourselves? Where does the product evolve from? Where does it originate from?
Yeah, because those of you who know Vision Aid Technologies, the one what I'm representing now, we're a company in the UK and we sell technology from all over the world. So we sell most things that are available in the UK. So we sell great stuff from Optelec, from Enhanced Vision, from Humanware, from all the main manufacturers. We also manufacture and sell some of our own products as well, but we don't shy away from any other products, so we can show people all different things. But there's also a separate company called Vision Aid International, which is a manufacturing company who manufacture the Evolve that we've just looked at, and that then is shipped all over the world. So and that's the Vision Aid product. So most of other countries, it's still called the Evolve. I think some countries changed the name of it. So I think I'm not sure in Germany, because they call it what do they call it in Germany? They call it something else in Germany. It's not called the Evolve or the Read Easy Move 2, the previous version. They call it I forgot what it's called now, but it's got a different name to suit their market. But it's essentially the same unit, just rebadged. And you might get other companies like Humanware and people like that selling the Evolve as one of their reading machines. They'll sell it to their customers in Australia or New Zealand or somewhere like that, or somewhere else in the world. We have distributors all over the world. So that's why it's important that it does so many different languages.
Yeah, brilliant.
But we're very proud of it. If it's also if anyone's a member of Blind Veterans, it's their reading machine of choice as well. So that if you have a reading machine, if you have a magnifier, it's normally an Optelec one or an Enhanced Vision magnifier. But if it's a reading machine, it's normally the Read Easy Evolve that Blind Veterans will provide, because they look at all.
It's just packed full of features and enhancements that not everybody's going to need them all whatsoever, but there will be something in there for everyone in terms of particular eye condition. You got the different reading styles, and I loved the AI in there. I didn't realize, because I've not played around with this version that much, but the way where you're putting the document together, and the machine knows that your hands are still there. Yeah. So you move your hands, that takes the picture, and the multiple mode where you could put, you could scan so many pages at once.
Yeah.
Really like super.
So that's such a simple thing with the motion detection, because although there are so many readers out there, as soon as you press the button to capture the page, it goes, it's instant, it takes the picture. And the trouble is, if the page is moving or anything's moving, then it takes a blurred picture, and then it has to work out the text from that blurred picture, where the Evolve doesn't do that, because if it detects any movement at all, it tells you, it just keeps beeping saying there's something wrong. And then as soon as it's been still for 2 seconds, it's happy, it will just take the picture.
And I suppose one last question for me, I suppose, if you buy the Evolve, is it just the Evolve now, or is there just the A4 version, or do you have to? Is it literally the A4 and A3 version that you buy?
No, there's the Read Easy Evolve is the only version. So it does A4 and A3. So if you that's what I love about it, because it suits all the ages and all abilities. So if you want it dead simple, don't buy the feature pack with it. Just buy the Evolve. Leave the camera in A4. Beautiful, fast, accurate. Doesn't matter whether it's curved books. It's got all the motion detection, all automatic. It's a lovely machine. But then if you're a student or you like tinkering about with electronics into gadgets, and you want more from it, you want to import, export documents and put bookmarks and do multiple pages, then just buy the feature pack and just add it to it. And
you can get that later on for the same price.
Yeah. It's exactly the same price if you bought it when it was new, or whether you bought it a year later. And it just, as soon as you press the button on it, it will automatically connect to it straight away, because they've all got a Bluetooth interfacing, so it'll connect straight to it. It'll say wireless keypad connected. The only thing it does when it's a new control pad, it talks you through. It'll say you need to calibrate the little joystick in the corner. It'll say just rotate it 10 times. So you just rotate it with your thumb 10 times, and then it'll say joystick calibrated, and that's it, done.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it again until you change the batteries in the unit.
Cool.
Which will be like it'll last a few years.
I think a really well thought out product with different, for different types of people that need different things.
Yeah, thank you.
Which is great, and the fact that you can buy it in 2 different kind of forms. You just buy the Evolve on its own, or you buy the full pack for the visual side of things as well.
Yeah,
I like the fact that it tends to offer a lot more features visually than it does audibly, naturally, because there's so much that you can do with it. However, the main delivery of the device is that audible support through, without the feature pack, and that's what I like about it. It's going to appeal to everyone possibly with a visual impairment, and it doesn't exclude anyone essentially from the product. It's not visual first and then here's the audible bit if you can't see it very well. It's kind of the other way around, which I personally I really, really like.
Yeah, it's primarily a reader, then it's got the magnification stuff bolted onto it, and added on if you want to. And the visual side of it is much more powerful than any other. It's got a lot more feature than any other reading machine that we've got. We sell quite a lot of readers. It's more powerful than any of the other ones, but it's good. I like it. It's a nice machine.
Absolutely. Well, I think we might have some. I'm gonna unmute everybody.
Dangerous!
Allow participants to unmute themselves.
Hey.
And I'll ask to unmute. There we go. Oh,
well,
I was echoing a little bit there. I don't know why, but hey, echo.
Can I just quickly say it's Jenny from the South
Jenny.
Office. Thank you so much. It's been really, really good and really interesting.
Thank you.
But I need to go.
All right.
But yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks,
Jenny.
Jenny.
I've been waiting for them to shut up and so I can go. Jonathan, waiting for Andrew to shut up.
Yeah.
You've been waiting a long time.
No, that's not Christmas this year, trust me. Thanks, guys. Bye.
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 There, Jenny's gone there. Has anybody got any questions for Jason? Oh, we've forgotten about Nigel.
Well,
you all right there, Nigel?
Hey, I'm still here.
Thank you. We actually see Nigel, but you've been very quiet because Jason's just not drawn breath, have you, Jason?
Jason's.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, because I get carried away, don't I?
Trying to get a word in edgeways sometimes.
Are you Jason's wingman there, Nigel? Just in case he needs.
Just in case he had overload. Can I just say one thing, that with all the readers that we do, none of them are absolutely perfect. Sometimes they trip over words, and particularly if you're reading something like a sort of local newspaper, or if you're reading a specialist book or something like that. And the great thing about the Evolve is that you can actually go back and very simply get it to spell out words that don't sound right. And you can really sort of make some of the books come right for you, instead of just having to put up with it as a reader. And that's a really sort of powerful piece of extra that goes in with it.
Can I just ask, does it read handwriting?
No.
Right.
It thinks it can. Don't get me wrong. If somebody writes in block capitals, it'll probably read some of the words.
But I mean, normal handwriting.
Yeah, no.
Spider scroll like mine, but normal handwriting. But it won't read. No.
No, the only thing that I've seen that they'll have a reasonable go at handwriting, but I don't know how good it is. Andrew will probably tell you better. Is the Seeing AI app? On the iPhone.
That
does
do
it. That's the only thing I know that I've seen. It was quite good on handwriting when I last saw it, but I don't know how good it is really, because I don't have an iPhone anymore.
They've done a lot of work on that, haven't they?
Yeah, but that's the only thing I really know that reads handwriting.
Yeah.
So.
It's difficult to trust that really yet. As you say, unless somebody writes in a like block capitals or whatever.
Print, wouldn't they? Basically.
Print it. Yeah.
Okay. Right. I mean, there is actually, just slightly sidetracking a little bit, but there is an Android version of the Seeing AI, isn't there? Is it something Sullivan or something?
Envision.
There's Envision and there's SuperSense. There's Google Lookout as well. Google's own version.
They never did Seeing AI for Android, did they? They always said they were going to, but they never actually happened.
No, and yet they're
I think it's in the pipeline, isn't
it's
it?
in the pipeline, yeah, because they've been doing Soundscape, which is the kind of sister project through Microsoft. They've been trialing it in Brazil on Android devices because Android is kind of the preferred kind of operating system or type of phone device in Brazil. So they've been doing testing there. So I do think possibly it will come to the rest of the.
Have you tried many of the Android ones, Andrew?
I have, yeah.
Which one's the best one on that then?
I like the Envision one. You do have to pay for that one, but I do like that. But it's not a big expense. I like that one. I've used the Google I think it's called Google Outlook or Lookout. I can't quite remember. I've used that one. I need to try it again because it's probably had a few updates since I last tried it, and that was okay. That was a beta version, so they were quite openly experimenting with with that app, and that one's free as well. And then there's another one called SuperSense. We've had them join us from the US last year. Theirs is a paid app that you pay for as well. So I still think that it's for me it's between Envision and Seeing AI. Although Seeing AI is free, Envision isn't. But I mean, I got Envision for the year for I think it was like $13 or something like that at Christmas.
$13. Oh well, it's minimal then, isn't it? But
it's minimal cost, yeah.
Do they have a lifetime one as well, or is it
some
just
of these
annual?
Some of these apps do have a lifetime. Do have lifetime, yeah, they do.
Yeah, but the Envision's just annual.
Android and iOS.
No, she said, is it annual? Like,
is it annual?
Yeah.
No, you can do monthly. You can do monthly and annual, but I don't see the point of doing monthly.
No, but I mean, as opposed to lifetime.
That's it. But it brings me back to like a really good point where we'll use the smartphone when we're out and about, and we might read like some cooking instructions in the kitchen with it, or we might like use the technology, as you say, out and about in a restaurant. Because let's be honest, right? You're not going to carry the Evolve around with you out and about to the supermarkets and things.
Some of the menus are more handwritten. They've got like a Sanskrit type script type.
But I actually think for like reading a book and doing some, really meaningful tasks, being able to read your mail really quickly when it comes through the door, and having that set up in an area of the home where you're going to go to and do your reading and do your bits and bobs. I think like for some people, they do want that standalone device that just does that particular thing really, really well. And that's what the Evolve's catering for, isn't it? It's not it's not for the person that wants to just do the odd, I just want to scan something really quickly and that's it. This is for someone that's like going to want to use this to deal with all the correspondence, to read letters, I mean, actually, it's a great scan your books.
You could even use it for writing checks, because it's got a live mode on it. So that's good. I mean, or if you really want to push it to the nth degree, things like doing your nail polish or whatever.
I use it all the time for that, Yvonne.
That's Tracy.
Oh, it's Tracy. Sorry, Tracy. Yeah,
I don't do nail polish.
Oh yeah, sorry, Yvonne. It's Tracy. I forgot it was Tracy. Yeah, sorry.
I think as well, though, I love the idea. There's a lot of books out there that that they're not an audio or whatever. And if people have got a lot of books that they want to scan in as their own personal references and stuff and make it into an audio file, that's great as well.
I find a lot of people, like especially people with dexterity issues, as they get older, get like arthritis in the fingers, they can't control like apps and stuff, and also like smaller things like the Orcams, and also you get people that like to read a lot of specialist things, like if you're into like model trains or something like that, you'll get your train magazines. You can't often get stuff like that in audio.
No.
Where
it's true.
or you might read a newspaper, like holiday brochures and stuff like that. You might prefer to read that on this because you could just flick through the brochure and just put it in. You know, it's down to personal preference at the end of the day, what people like. It's just another option, really.
I think as well, if you don't want to keep like a big safe with like loads of stuff, you know, like loads of bank statements and loads of stuff in there, that you just shred it and save it in your Read Easy, you know, in your Read Easy Evolve. And you've got it, you know, you've got it there to come back to.
Although really,
It saved lots of space doing that as well.
You're better off keeping bank statements for at least 6 months, really.
You are,
for records, really, for official purposes.
Yeah. I actually don't get bank statements anymore. It's just all online for me, so I'm paperless.
Well, that's you, but I mean, I still get a paper one.
Right, got you. Yeah.
A braille one.
I like to get my money's worth out of a bank. I mean, come on.
Well, if anything goes wrong as well, can you backtrack it on your phone? Because it can happen 12 months later.
You can go back to it.
Yeah, it can happen 12 months later. It's not been picked up.
Of course it can.
Yeah.
But
sorry, Andrew.
It's all right. It's all right. But I was going to say, so if people want to find out more about the Vision Aid and these devices, what's the easiest thing for them to do, Jason?
You can either email, if you want to email me directly, it's jason@visionaid.co.uk. So it's Jason then Visionaid, all one word, visionaid.co.uk. Or you can give us a call. The telephone number is 01775 711 977. So that's 01775 711 977. So cool. that's our main office number.
Well, or just if you Google it, it'll come up on your thing anyway.
Yeah, Google it, or you can get it off. You can get it off. Andrew's always got our details anyway. So.
Yeah, Vision Aid. Google Vision Aid, and it'll come up. Is it
Vision Aid? All the contact details anyway.
Yeah, the website's just visionaid.co.uk.
Yeah, I mean, Nigel's just put up a poster thing with the contact details on for people who don't know what he's done, but he's just put that up.
He's put that up, yeah.
Nigel.
Oh yeah, he's very creative, isn't he?
Yeah.
I know. Just wrote that out myself.
Just one that you prepared earlier.
Yeah.
That's in there to sit there.
Blue Peter style.
Blue Peter style, absolutely.
David, I'll show you how to make one later.
How many blue rolls did you use for that one, though?
Yeah.
Oh,
he doesn't have loo rolls anymore because he's paperless.
And you know what? Bless him. I found out the other day from his wife that he's been waiting for that fairy liquid bottle for ages now to make that spaceship.
Saying the advert, the boy was lying.
Oh dear me. We had a sorry, Nigel. We're not taking the mickey out of you today.
No, I'm still quite concerned that Jason called them model trains instead of model railways.
Yeah, get it right, Jace.
Yeah.
We got a question from Key.
Hi, Kate.
Yeah, David Evans here. Yeah. David Evans, yes. We're just looking at that demonstration.
Oh, hang on, David. I've got Key first.
Oh, right.
Yeah, go on, Key.
Sorry, can't get it. I've got a bottle which is like curved. It's like a shampoo bottle. Can it read the curved service like shampoo bottle or baked beans can?
Yeah, the Evolve can, yes, because it'll do when you actually do some a curved surface. You see the software flatten it. So it can read quite thick stuff as well. And sometimes it reads it better if I take the camera out and plug it into the A3 slot, because in the A3 slot, because the camera's higher, you get a much better depth of field. But it will read it. But the trouble is, it's like any reader. It can't see all of it at once. So it depends how much it's going to read, because it's like when you look at it with your eyes. If you look at a curved surface with your eyes, you can't actually read all the way around it anyway. You'd have to turn it at some point. So sometimes it does take a bit of jiggery pokery, because you have to take a picture, let it read what it reads, and then turn it a little bit and then try it again before you get to the bit that you need. So it does. You can do it, but it might take a couple of different turns before you actually get it to read the information that you want.
No, so what's the smallest print you can read?
Oh, the smallest print.
Yeah, the smallest print. It's I think I don't know if we put that in the thing actually. I think it's that.
It will read down to
5 point,
about
isn't it?
4 point, won't
Is it 4 point? Yeah, because I think it's slightly lower, doesn't it? Because so you can, it's really good at, you know, like the medication with a really tiny print on that. It's really good at that. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
But you do have to have the camera in the A4 slot to read the smallest print, because obviously when the camera's in the lower slot and on the A4, then it's much closer to the information rather than in the A3. So it can't read that really tiny print if it's in the A3 because it's too far away from it.
So that's like our medication and things like that, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's good. It's good at medication. To be fair to it, it's good at medication for stuff like that. It's ideal for it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Kay.
Go on, David. Sorry about that, David.
Couple of little questions. Firstly, the subject of magazine articles. Now, as you know, they start in one place, go around this picture and finish up somewhere else.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you don't want to suddenly find yourself, you're reading, by the time you've read one column, you don't want to find yourself reading the other article when you've not finished the one you're on.
Yes. And that's a problem with all OCR readers, right? So when it takes the photograph of the page, it makes that decision the way it's going to read that page instantly, almost instantly. Right. And sometimes
so you've no control over that then.
No. So and sometimes it does get it wrong. So you can either you could either if you know where the article goes, you could fold the page so you limit what it can see, or take some of it off the map so that it can't see it all, or you might have to just put up with it because you put it under there, and if it's quite logical, if it goes down one column, then even if it splits and there's rows around a picture, because it's still logically that's the same column, it will reread it properly. It's only when sometimes you might get a funny advert in the middle of it, and then suddenly the story moves over somewhere else to accommodate an advert or whatever, and then it starts reading another story. I know what you mean, instead of jumping back up to it. But
yeah, because I was just thinking anybody with no side, particularly anybody that's not using that.
I was just about to say that, David. With somebody with no sight, it's even trickier because, again, you've got no control over it. You'll get to the text eventually, but not necessarily in the right order. But if you've got some vision and you've got the feature pack, it's much easier because you can magnify it, and I can see straight away that it's gone into the wrong article and stop it, and then tap the screen or select with the pointer the bit where I want it to continue reading, and it'll carry on reading from there. So if you've got some vision on the Evolve, it's dead easy because you can do it on the pack. You know, you can magnify and do it. But like you're correct in the fact that if you've got no vision at all, that is quite tricky.
You don't claim to be a miracle worker, do you, Jace?
No.
Because of the feature pack, have you had any success selling them in the schools? Because I'm just thinking of children with low vision learning to read.
Yeah.
You know, because you can point to that word and get them to pronounce.
Yeah, because
you get the child to learn how that word should be pronounced.
Because sometimes
for everyday words, I don't mean fancy words like specialist.
And also because it puts a box around the word, it highlights the word that you want them to read. I've seen them use it in education as well for where you put it on the one where it only displays one word at a time.
Yeah,
and then it's more focused. And you could turn the volume down and get the child to read at first, and then you can then rewind it and then let the machine read it. So you could do it a couple of different ways. But yeah, it can be used for that. It's not widely used for that, but it can be.
No, I just when I saw that, it would be good in schools helping children learn to read. Partially sighted children.
A lot of readers as well, not only used by people who are partially sighted, but also people with reading difficulties like dyslexia and other.
Oh yeah.
Because when they're being read to, they can take the information in, but if they try and read it themselves, they can read it 4 or 5 times and it won't go in.
Yeah.
Right.
But if they have the information.
People with learning disabilities would be good as well.
Because
people who can't actually hold things to read them.
Yeah, exactly that. So we do get a lot of sort of things where people buy the stuff that not necessarily visually impaired at all. Especially some of the ORCAM units, the smaller units, we get a lot of people buy those with dyslexia. You know, because especially for education, because it might be moving from one classroom to the next, and you can that new little ORCAM pen, the ORCAM Read. It's like a pen reader. We get a lot of people buy that for education, for dyslexia in particular.
It's great. It's great. Well, listen, guys, it's been great having you with us today, as always. And I mean, definitely when we have people coming to Galloway's asking for advice on, on different types of tech, now we point them to our YouTube channel, and this will be one of the videos that will definitely point people towards to take a look at the Evolve. It's a great product, and I'd like to thank Jason and Nigel for joining us today, as always.
Nigel and his art.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thanks ever so much for inviting us again.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
And just to say, if anyone does want a demonstration at all, then we're up and working. We've got a COVID safe procedure for coming into people's homes.
Yeah.
And yeah, as far as we're concerned, everything's sort of back to normal for us.
Yes. So we're more than happy to, as long as you're happy for us to come see. I've had my vaccine. And when I turn up at your house, I'll look like something from a nuclear power station because I've got my goggles on, my mask.
Excellent.
I've got my bag of sanitizers, all sorts.
Sounds like me when I go visiting as well.
Yeah.